Good morning and welcome to Bladen Online. I have with me my special guest, Mr. Mark Harris. Mr. Harris, how are you this morning?
I'm great, Erin. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're welcome. I understand that you're seeking elected office. Tell us a little bit about what office you're seeking.
Well, Erin, I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives to represent the new 9th Congressional District. And I specifically use that terminology, the new 9th District, because it has completely changed. What was a district that was centered somewhat in Charlotte with Iredell County to the north, most all of Mecklenburg, and a little piece of Union, has now changed completely to be just a little piece of Mecklenburg, 50 precincts per se, and then it goes due east all the way through Union and Anson and Scotland and Richmond and Robeson County. I think it's at Anson and Bladen and Cumberland. So it's a bunch of counties now.
Okay. Well, tell me, what motivated you to seek an elected office?
Well, I actually ran for the United States Senate in 2014 in the last election, and it was a great experience meeting a lot of people across North Carolina. And what sort of helped motivate me even into that race was I was one of the founding members of the Vote for Marriage NC campaign here in North Carolina in 2011 and 2012, and helped lead the fight for the marriage amendment to our Constitution here in North Carolina. So all throughout those experiences, I really came to recognize that the people of North Carolina are looking for leadership. There's a vacuum of leadership that people are feeling in our nation today, and we felt like this is a great opportunity to bring new leadership and a new face to the new 9th District.
Well, for people in Bladen County who haven't met Mark Harris yet, give me a little of your background.
Well, my background is I'm a senior pastor. I actually have served as pastor of the First Baptist Church and do serve as pastor of First Baptist Church in Charlotte, and been there for right at 11 years now. Prior to that, I've served as a pastor in Clemens, North Carolina and Augusta, Georgia. And so I have 28 years of experience as a senior pastor, and really prior to that did a couple of years in youth ministry. So born and raised in Winston-Salem, went to Appalachian State University, graduated from there, was headed to law school when God called me to preach, and actually went to Southeastern Seminary instead, and have had that opportunity to lead our Baptist State Convention of North Carolina, serve as a trustee at Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary, and chairman of the trustees there back in 2006. So a number of different leadership roles.
Well, tell me a little bit. I know there's some concerns here in Bladen County with such issues as our education system, with funding, and funding's very tight. And so tell me a little bit about that. What are your thoughts on our education system and how we can make it better for our students?
Well, let me just say this. I think you can't hardly talk about the education system, Erin, without talking about the whole state of our federal government right now. Primarily because we're $19 trillion in debt. We have $120 trillion of unfunded liabilities. And when that becomes the case, we're in a situation today where the federal government has got serious problems. And when you talk about education, that's something that's near and dear to my heart. Primarily, my wife was a teacher. Her mom was a 30-year public school teacher. Her sister's a principal in Winston-Salem. My daughter went to Appalachian State. She's also an elementary school teacher. So education is near and dear to our heart. But I would say primarily on the education issue, I genuinely believe that we need to leave local control for education. That's where it belongs. The federal government doesn't need to be in the education business in terms of dictating to our local schools what they need to do. Not a fan of Common Core, and do stand for much more local control when it comes to education.
Okay. Another thing is Bladen County is heavily agrarian, and so we rely a lot on agriculture for our economy.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on agriculture.
Well, I believe agriculture, without question, is the backbone of North Carolina. Has been and continues to be. And one of the things that's fascinating, I was talking recently with a gentleman that owns a big equipment company selling farming equipment in Union County. And he was describing to me that while he couldn't really explain it, there was an incredible pattern that he saw over the last 30 or 40 years that whenever the housing market is going up, it seems like the farming prices are coming down and farmers are hurting. The other way around, when housing is going down in our economy, farming seems to be going up and seems to be an interesting precedent that's set there. I'm not sure he fully understands, and I know I don't fully understand what's behind that economic reality, but I do think it's something that we have to understand. Farming is something that is critical. If we can't feed our people in this country, then we've got a serious, serious problem. I have great concerns about what's happening as the Chinese are coming in and buying up our agricultural industry in many cases. And I think that's something that we need to be very careful about and take a serious look at going forward.
And I think there's one other concern we have, of course, is our insurance.
Oh, no question. The whole health insurance under Obamacare has created, I think, major stagnation in our economy. As a pastor of a local church, sometimes people don't think about the business side that I have to deal with as a pastor. Our church has a budget of about $3 million, and our staff deals every year. We have to deal with the insurance issue. We've, over the last 3 years, had to every year increase in our budget our cost of medical insurance for our staff. It's gone up as much as 25%, 20%, 18%. And even this upcoming year, our fiscal year runs from June 1st or July 1st to June 30th. We're finding ourselves once again, just to be prepared, putting another 25% increase in our budget so that we'll be able to handle the cost. It's terrible. It's squeezing every small business in America. It leads to uncertainty, and our markets hate the uncertainty. Businesses hate the uncertainty. And I personally will do everything I can to fight to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Well, great. Well, we thank you, Mr. Harris, for stopping by and joining us. And we thank you for joining us at Bladen Online.
Thank you.